Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to the #1 Divine Intervention virtual event. And pop me on the screen. The D.I.V.E Social Summit for short. You just got a sneak preview of our guest. So if you're new to D.I.V.E Live Online, my name is Iona Meade, your big vision and mission purposepreneur and founder of the Soul Speakers Academy and host of this interview series, where I've brought together 49 guest experts who I like to call soul speakers from all over the world, sharing with you soul-inspired, intuitive business, lifestyle, and marketing strategies for purpose-driven business owners. So throughout the 49 days of the Social Summit, each of my guests are coming into the Soul Speaker Spotlight to share with you not only their free gift, but also their soul-inspired strategy for the day. So hopefully this interview is coming to you in divine timing, with divine energy and in divine flow. We know that the universe brings us what we need, but it's not always much fun to do it alone. And that's why you'll be able to connect with me, my guests, and like-minded attendees of the D.I.V.E Social Summit in the Soul Speakers Tribe Facebook group. I also have bonus training for this Social Summit. It's called Speak Your Soul's Message 101. So do feel free to hop onto that. So today we have about 20 minutes or so together. And I'm going to introduce my guest formally. So you saw her face on the screen. So please give a warm welcome to Cornelia Ward. Hi, Cornelia.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. You were up there on the screen and you didn't know it.
No, kind of a sneak peek.
Yeah. So let me give you a warm welcome. So author Cornelia Ward is a career and business mentor who helps people love Mondays. Cornelia works with people to create a career transition plan, whether it's starting their own business or finding a new career path that really lights them up, so that they are really excited every Monday to go back to work. I love that. I love Monday. I love every day, actually. So guys, if you have any questions for Cornelia, do leave them below and continue on the conversation. We'd love to hear your thoughts on today's topic. So Cornelia, before we share your free gift, and thank you for bringing that to the summit, can you share with our audience a little bit about how your path unfolded and how you've come to do what you're doing today?
Yeah, so that's such a great question. That's so important. So when about 6 years ago, I was a broker in financial services, and I really loved my job. I really loved helping people reach their financial goals and really hearing about their lives and how I could support them and solve problems for them. And that aspect of my work I really loved, but what wasn't working so well was just my work environment and the people I worked with, and just a lot of the restrictions I felt within that work, within that structure. So that probably sounds familiar to a few people who are listening right now. And so what happened to me is I started having some really major health issues. I had a lot of anxiety that actually eventually evolved into like full-blown depression, so that I could only work part-time, which was pretty scary to me because I'm such a healthy person. And so that was like a really red flag. So if anybody's listening and has any of that anxiety and depression about their job, that's like it's a red flag that they really, like for me, I was not doing my soul's purpose. I wasn't following what my soul was calling me to do. And so I was forced to leave my job, and I had always wanted to start my own business. And so that's what I did 6 years ago, is I started my own business. And here I am now doing career and business mentoring and coaching with people to help them love Mondays. And what I do is I teach them the process I went through when I left my job in financial services. So I love being able to teach people and be an example for people of where they can get to when they're just feeling so low because the work is just not working well for them.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. And I'm sure that a lot of people do resonate. And if you do, then let us know. I say that it's that soul-sucking day job, and there's nothing wrong with a day job, but when it feels draining and it feels like it's sucking your soul and you can't stand the Mondays, it's time to think about how to make that transition. And that doesn't mean that you've got to go and quit it tomorrow, or, you know, you've got to put yourself into a financial dire strait. And I did both. I did that gradual thing, and I did that I am done, right? So, you know, either way, whatever is right for you will show up for you. But if you are not loving Mondays, or most of the days that you are doing that work, or you're trying to make that transition online and follow your purpose and your bliss and your soul's purpose, as Cornelia says, and you know that you need to either keep working part-time or working full-time for a while until you figure things out, then do let us know what your experience is, because sometimes we can feel like it's just us, right? Or it's only us that is doing it alone behind closed doors. We want to be purpose-driven business owners out in the world doing what it is that we love, but we don't always figure it out, right? So how did you get to, before we move into your free gift, how did you figure that out? Where did you go for that source of support?
Yeah, so, you know, a big part of what I did during this period was really practice, you know, just extreme self-care, because I was so sick, right? And then I started to think about what kind of business I wanted to start, what my next career would be, and that helped pull me out of that depression. So it was a combination of self-care plus doing exercises like, you know, what do I see happening out there in the world that just breaks my heart? That's just a great tip for anybody listening, that, you know, we all see things happening out either in the larger world, we hear it on the news, or we hear about a situation with friends or family, or maybe in our neighborhood, and we just go, oh my gosh, like someone has to do something about that. And so that's what I teach my clients, the break your heart exercise. And so what breaks my heart still, although I'm helping to hopefully alleviate that with people that I work with, but what really broke my heart back then, and kind of to answer your question, led me to where I am now, is I thought about, you know, what problems were happening out there in the world that I just felt really called, and a really strong inner push to do that work. And so it was connected to the financial services work that I did a little bit, but it wasn't quite in there completely around helping people really love Mondays.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. And sometimes when you start to step into that, or you see that fear can come around it did for me. And what I wouldn't say for me it broke my heart. It irks me. In fact, it pees me off. Right? I'm allowed to say that, because it just really grates on me. And that is the reason, or at the core of the summit, right? Is, for me, it was being a purpose-driven business owner. I wanted somebody to teach me how to be in service first, as you were doing with your clients. I didn't want somebody to teach me how to build a list. It didn't feel great. It felt awful. It felt salesy. I didn't want to be stuck on people's lists. I was like, well, if I'm your niche, how come I'm stuck? I didn't know how to build my business in a way that felt really good. And I thought, what is this list building? The money is in the list. And for me, it was like, okay, it dropped. The money's in the transformation. So we're chasing the list, right? And so many areas of our life go out of balance. And for me, I hit my rock bottom. I went through a really messy divorce. I was bankrupt. I was homeless. I had my home repossessed. It was crazy for me. How many other people go through this, where they come out of training school and they don't have the business, the marketing side of things, and they don't know what to do. So it drove me, and I love that you say that it breaks people's heart, because if it does, then when stuff gets sticky in your business, then you are going to push through and break through. And while you're doing that, it is so important to take care of yourself, and look after yourself and look after your mind. And I love in your free gift, but we'll move to that, and then you can let people know some of the things that you did, that you actually share in your free gift. And I like I say, the fear kicked in for me big time. I was afraid of selling. I was afraid of success, and I was afraid of failure. And they were the things that were around the list building that I didn't love. So it played out in my life. So I love what you bring to the summit. So Cornelia brings this ebook is called Go Forward Fearlessly. And I like to say I'm in the fearless receiving mode. So it really resonates with me. It's Go Forward Fearlessly, a spiritual roadmap for how to be happy, stress-free, and confident despite massive change. And all of the changes that I went through, I wish I'd have had this to read at that time, right? It could be because it shows up for us and we don't know that it shows up for other people. We really do feel like it's just us. So I'll put the link for that, and you have full permission to multitask and go and grab that. So Cornelia, if our guys do grab your free gift, what are they going to get? What's the core of your book?
Yeah, so it's really, as as it says, the title, it's perfect for anybody going through any kind of major life transition. And often what I find is people are often going through more than one, kind of what you just talked about, right? Like the housing change, the whole money thing, the career thing. So that's like really common. People going through several transitions, major life transitions at the same time. It's a little crazy making. And as you say, it's hard to kind of navigate through that alone. So hopefully the book and the ideas and tools in the book will be kind of a guide along the path for people who go ahead and download that ebook. So you talked about fear a minute ago. So there's actually a whole chapter on allaying fear and how to deal with fear, because that's a big part of major life transitions, right? Our soul is calling us to move forward and go into a new life, and we feel really scared, right? And so how do you deal with that? So there's a whole chapter on that. And then just connected to the whole idea of life purpose, there's actually a whole chapter on going for your life purpose. That's the name of it, Go for Your Life Purpose. And there are a couple of exercises in there, kind of a left-brained exercise where you come up with a life purpose statement for yourself, which can really ground you as you're navigating through the fear. That's your big why you're doing what you're doing. And then the other one is more kind of a right brain kind of imagination exercise where you kind of envision the kind of work that you'd like to be doing. So it's just, I had a lot of fun writing the book, and I give it to all my clients and everybody who I meet with. And just, from a place of, and also, before I forget, also self-care. We've talked about self-care, right? There's a whole chapter on self-care because that's so important.
Yeah, you touched a few points that I want to pick up. First of all, I'm a vision and life purpose business coach, so I love that. And the way that you put it in the book, and you ask questions, right? And like you say, the left brain and the right brain, and have that vision. And I created what I call a life purpose vision board. And so it drew me. It drew me in, and it's fun to create that, especially when you've gone through an experience like I have, and you did with the depression piece, or just feeling like, where am I going to go from here? And not everyone teaches you, lays it out, basically the practical steps in a whole chapter. And yet some people might say, well, there's a whole book, where do I start? And I love that you say about you put the self-care, especially when you're not feeling yourself and you're just feeling that down and in that depressive state, and that mindset and all those negative thoughts and feelings are going around. I think just pick, and I think that's one of the things to go first if you're in what I call a funk and you're not in the flow. That's self-care. It's easy to stay in bed. It's easy to not get dressed. It's easy to not, brush your teeth, or whatever that is, whatever that looks and feels like for you. In the book, you talk about the rituals. So you have rituals in the morning and the evening. Is that what you implemented to kind of just raise you up? What does that look and feel like?
Yeah, so that chapter on self-care where I talk about that is all about creating kind of structure for yourself. So where this came from is that, all of it, I was working full time, right, until 6 years ago. And then boom, I had to leave my job. And basically I had no structure, no schedule. And, it's that regular daily schedule that really anchors us and keeps us grounded and allows us to kind of know what's next. It helps kind of allay the anxiety. And so when you build, these morning routines and these evening routines, it's a beautiful way to just get your day started on a really strong emotional foundation, physical foundation too, because there's exercise in there as well, physical exercise. And then the evening ritual is kind of the winding down at the end of the day, kind of gives your body the cue. You can get a good night's sleep. Emotionally, you can end up in a good place, because every day for all of us is a little bit of an adventure, right? We're not quite sure when we start the day what's going to be happening, and we're kind of surfing through life during the day, trying to deal with the things that are kind of coming to us expected and unexpected. So the evening ritual is a really beautiful way just to kind of wind it up, that final act of self-care and groundedness, and really honoring who we are and the transition we're going through, and then slowly just gently moving into a place of sleep so we can get a really great night's sleep as well.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And, are you practicing those self-care things that you wanted to do? And what are you doing? If you are doing some kind of self-care, let us know. Continue on the conversation. If you're here on Cornelia's Feature Day, then you can come over to the Facebook group and continue on the conversation. And if you're not, then again, I'll put the link for you around this interview, and move into inspired action anyway, and come in and just let us know what it is that you're going to be doing, what thing. And it's not everything maybe, or you might be adding to what you're doing, or you might have started something and thought, I used to do that and that felt really great, that used to help me out. That kind of that trigger that helps you to feel really good in that moment. And each day you've got that to look forward to, build on, add on, and raising your vibration and your energy, and clearing your mind and having clarity on things. And that's kind of when the creative thoughts and the downloads actually happen, when you're not trying to force things. And all kinds of magic happens. So I love that. Thank you for sharing that. So let's move into your soul-inspired strategy of the day, Cornelia. And if you're new to D.I.V.E Live Online, and if you're not new, then you'll know that this soul-inspired strategy is each of my guests are bringing in the practical tools, the steps, the tips, the actions, for you with their free gift. But the soul-inspired strategy is to help you move and feel your way in your life and your business and your marketing. And if you are coming from that space where you're moving in whatever transition that is, then hopefully this will help you move and feel your way a little bit easier and a little bit lighter. So do share your soul-inspired strategy, Cornelia.
So, and we've been talking about it. This is my soul-inspired strategy, which, I work with a lot of new and existing business owners who are wanting to go deeper into the work they're meant to do, that soul purpose. And it's self-care, that it's a marketing strategy. Believe it or not, self-care is a huge marketing strategy. So that's the freebie, of course, will kind of cover that really in a really thorough way to just get a little bit more grounded in all that's involved in that strategy. But, I will be working with a business owner. For instance, I had a therapist that I was working with about a year ago who wanted to do more coaching. And so we were putting together, her plan, her packages, and her pricing, and, doing all those steps that are involved in kind of re-engineering your business. And I noticed that she was spending a lot of time actually taking care of other people. She had a friend whose husband was in the hospital, basically on his deathbed, a little scary situation, but she was spending a lot of time going to the hospital. She was this great friend, spending a lot of time on people other than herself. And she was really, really, if you can imagine it, right? Like all of us have kind of been there, right? We're running a business full time, and then all this other personal stuff comes in that takes a lot of our time. And I noticed that she was getting that we weren't moving forward in our coaching. She was missing sessions. She wasn't moving forward in the steps that we had laid out that she was so excited about doing. And finally, I had, a phone call with her and just, what's going on? And she filled me in that she was spending all this time on other things, not herself, not on self-care. And I just said, Maria, so think about self-care as a marketing strategy, because nothing is going to go forward in your business in the way you want it to go forward unless you have that really strong foundation, right? It's like what we just talked about. It's that emotional equilibrium that we're looking at. It's our way of being of service to people we're working with from that really strong foundation of self-care. It's from the self-care that we will increase our energy, which will enable us to really have the bandwidth to deal with, you know, clients' needs and our own needs within the business and that kind of thing. So, that's my soul-inspired marketing strategy. It's all about self-care.
Love it, love it. And I know when we connected and you talked about that, and I was like, oh, wow. I'd had a couple of conversations before we chatted, and I was talking about what I do in the day, and sometimes I'll just dive in the bath and I'll just like sit and my divine downloads come in there, and you know, just taking that time out away from my computer or away from work, and not thinking about things too much, just being with me. I love it. I think it is an amazing marketing strategy because those creative ideas flow. And the D.I.V.E Social Summit flowed probably in the bath. Right, you know, and just you're able to kind of just shut down, and when you're looking after yourself and giving yourself that energy and that space to actually put you first, feels pretty good. I love it. So thank you for sharing. So I will wrap up, and then I'll ask you if you have anything that you'd like to add before we hop off. So if you love this interview and you know that somebody would benefit from that self-care and using that, tell them that, you know, it's now a marketing strategy. It's part of your marketing. Let them know, and do share that link. Do share this interview and continue on the conversation. So we are not locking off the interviews. We're not asking you to pay for the replays. You can get access to the freebies, because we don't want you to stay stuck behind closed doors, stuck in that fear state I was stuck in. Doesn't feel great to do things alone. And we would be doing you a disservice if we didn't offer you a way to take inspired action, right? So if you've been to the summit and you've had a look at the bonus training where I talk about speaking your soul's message, getting featured on Hangouts, virtual events, summits, radio, as part of your marketing, as part of getting your message out there, as part of repurposing what you do, and as part of actually getting around people who are like-minded, right? And taking that heavy lifting out of what you're doing fearlessly, then let me know if it feels right to you to move forward, because not only will Cornelia share an additional gift in what I call my Uber giveaway as I open up the Soul Speakers Academy, each of my guests are sharing with you their area of expertise. So if you come into the summit and say you have a look at one area of expertise that my guest is sharing, and you need a lot or a little help or support in that area, then they're there. Because as Cornelia says, and my experience, when you focus on one area of your life, then sometimes it feels like chaos is unfolding in others. So we're here to support you on your journey as you are fulfilling your life's purposes. If you're just starting out and you're just getting used to what that looks and feels like for you, then you can address those in Cornelia's free gift and say, you know, what is that purpose? Or if you've been on this journey for a while and you still haven't got clarity, which happens, it's not only you, if that's your experience, then do dive deeper. Let us know what your experience is. Continue on the conversation. And so I think that's it for me. Do you have anything else to add before we wrap up?
Yeah, one last thing I would say is that success comes not from timidity. So it's about moving outside your comfort zone and putting those steps into place, obviously, before you take that leap. But that's where success comes from, is moving into the other side of our comfort zone.
Yeah, which you may have heard me say or not say, that actually the comfort zone feels really uncomfortable. And if you are that's someone who wants to provide that transformation in the world, we know it begins one person at a time, and that person is you. So giving yourself that gift of looking after yourself, taking care of yourself, and going forward fearlessly, providing that spiritual roadmap that, you know, I wish I'd have had. So do go get it. Let us know how you find it. Let us know what you'll do, a couple of things that you'll do in there to practice self-care, or whatever resonates with you, what stands out for you. Sometimes you open a book and one thing just like, this was the thing that you needed most, but you didn't know you needed it. So let us know what that thing is. So this is Iona Meade saying, I really enjoyed this interview. I look forward to bringing you another soul speaker in the summit, sharing more soul-inspired, intuitive business, lifestyle, and marketing strategies for purpose-driven business owners. So that's it. I'll see you over at www.diveliveonline.com. So take care, guys.